Hey everybody, it's John, aka the History Buff. We're doing Pigeon in a Nutshell's World War II every day using Google Earth. I think this is amazing, and a shout out to them. Great job. The link is down below. Please check them out or this person out. Fabulous videos. Let's get into it.
This is London.
All right. So that's the invasion of Poland. If you check this out, they start with almost 400,000 mobilized or prepared in Poland, and you're talking, 1.8 million mobilized for Germany. Important to note, though, Poland was becoming very prepared for an imminent invasion. A lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people think they were taken by surprise, but I mean, they were ultimately, but it's not like they weren't unprepared. They just didn't expect it to be so quickly. Like happen so quickly with the blitzkrieg tactics and the tanks. It was out. They were prepared for outdated warfare, basically.
This is London.
France and Britain have joined Poland, and
I am speaking to you from the cabinet room.
there you go. Okay,
10 Downing Street.
so that's the Greater Germany now.
This morning, the British
France had made a smaller incursion into Germany while the invasion of Poland was going on.
final note stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war
Right.
would exist between us.
Neville Chamberlain had thought, if you recall, he held up that piece of paper and said, "We now have peace in our time," and it was basically Hitler was not going to go any further, and that was not the case. Now, what's happening here is what's known as the Sitzkrieg, is what they call it, basically, or the phony war. It was the time when Germany had finished the conquest of Poland and was preparing to invade France and England in the lowlands. But then, as you see right here, they ended up invading Norway. Norway, look at that. They had like 70,000 mobilized. They were mobilized all over the coast, exactly where Germany hit them. And there's the invasion of France. Important to note, though, about Norway is that this is where a lot of the iron ore was, and Germany had to secure that because Britain was going to secure it first. They were already mining, what is that, the North Sea, I think. But look at how fast Germany, I'll show you real quick. Look at how fast Germany to help the Greeks, and also in Yugoslavia, though it gave up, they were going to lose so many men and women fighting the Germans in a partisan war. And this is even when Italy takes over, what was it? I can't think of it. Ethiopia. You get an idea of how not really how almost World War I-ish Italy is, and you see how fast Hitler came down here throughout Eastern Europe and just took everything, and then right across France. I mean, this was mobile warfare. And then you can see on here the invasion of Greece. Alright. The Operation Sea Lion didn't happen, which was going to be the invasion of England, but look at this. 3.5 million versus 2.3 in the USSR. Of course, Finland joined on the side of Germany after they lost the Winter War then. A lot of great encirclements in Russia. Yeah, take note, this little area held out for a little while. There's a couple of islands. And then, of course, Leningrad is surrounded. Crimea holds off just a little bit, and Sevastopol. Alright, so we have Moscow, we have
members of the Senate,
Stalingrad,
of the House of Representatives.
If you notice,
yesterday, December.
Okay, the United States had just joined the war in December of 1941. So now, right where we stopped it is January 12th, 42. The United States joined the war as the Battle of Moscow was happening, and you know, right up in here at the gates of Moscow, the defense took hold, and of course there was a counteroffensive. This is when we see T-34s coming into service in more and more numbers, and this is also when you see the army in Siberia that was fighting sort of border wars with the Japanese, that they are now in play here, and it makes a big difference.
August 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces
take note of
the Empire
Finland.
of Japan.
They've got about, between Finland and
The
Germany,
United States was at peace
450,000
with that
troops
nation.
sitting there. It's an accurate number.
And at the solicitation of Japan, was still in conversation with its government and its emperor.
Look at how many people
Looking toward the maintenance of peace.
the Russians have mobilized. 5.4. All right, now Leningrad is in play. They're starting to lose some manpower on the front. There are a couple of little gains here and there against the Finns. But by note that Germany's not done, and you can see it, here it is. They're going towards Stalingrad, and they end up going down to the outskirts of Grozny. I think it's Grozny. $5.7 million. There it is. That's the high water mark in the south. $6 million. 6 million. Wow, that's a lot. There you go. They're the Allies. Do you see how quickly that happened? check this out. I'm gonna go back just a little bit. Watch how quickly this happens. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Allied invasion. And the quick buildup. I'm holding on to Tunisia. A little off the map here. There's the army of 6th Army basically holding out. Von Manstein has to pull back. He doesn't have enough manpower or supplies. And they're moving out of the Caucasus. Notice Tunisia holds on, and they keep adding men into Tunisia to hold on. It's one of the more dumb moves, or you know, in World War II, to feed people into Tunisia, because it ends up being about what, 250,000 surrender. All right, 43 Battle of Kursk. I almost said cross. Kursk. You can see the bulge in the line right there. I think it's Operation Citadel. That's crazy. You can also see there's Sicily. Okay. Airborne troops are being used. Invasion preparation. The Allies learned a lot about how to invade from the ocean. Their landings in Italy. Okay. All right. Operation Citadel happened already, and they are pushing the Germans back. That was the last gasp, or the, I don't want to say the last. It was obvious now that the Germans were not going to be the victors of the war. The Tiger tank had come out at this point to counter the T-34, excuse me. And they're just not made in insufficient numbers, to be quite honest. There were a lot of breakdowns during Operation Citadel when they pressed them into service very quickly. All right. And there it is. Notice they're still holding on to Crimea. 1944, February. Okay. So this is the Gustav line that they're being held at in Italy right here. And it's not until the day before D-Day that they actually capture Rome.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade,
okay, here it comes.
toward which we have striven these many months.
6.
The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts,
there you go.
You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe,
they have a million men,
and
real
security
quick.
for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened.
There you go. There's the breakout.
Savagely.
Operation Cobra.
But this is the year 1944.
Liberation
Much has
of Paris.
happened since the Nazi triumph of
landings in the South.
1940-41.
Please don't forget, Americans. If you're an American and you're taught about World War II, you're taught that that it was the Americans that did it. Please note that is not necessarily the case. It's not like the British didn't hold out. They did, and they were a thorn in the side of the Germans for a long time. But yes, they did not have the manpower nor the capability to take on the Germans. They went back and forth in North Africa. It was the American industry that basically, and the Americans, of course, that helped them land in France. But if you're looking at like what really stopped Germany, I mean, it's hard not to say that the Soviets did it. They took the brunt of the work. As much as Americans want to wave the flag and say, you know, we were victors in World War II, you know, we have this real great habit of coming into a war in the middle of it and making a change. And that is the case in World War I and World War II. And look at what the Soviets have done. They have an average now of 6.7 million. I think it was 6.5 was like the average once the counteroffensives happened. But you've got, there's this Romania. It's going to capitulate. You're going to see a lot of Southeastern Europe fall before the Soviets. And as well as up here, you've got 528,000. You got a lot of people holding on. And then the Finns are going to change sides too, and have sign a separate peace with the Soviets while they still have a chance, you know, something at the table. But if you look up here, we don't have the Battle of the Bulge going yet. We're going to, and Italy, most of Italy has been taken except for the lower area of Italy. Rome is taken, of course, Corsica, Sardinia. Okay.
The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeat.
By the way, France gave up pretty quickly. Not France itself, but once the operations in the south of France caught up to the operations in the north of France, any Germans that were basically to the west had no chance. They gave up. There were holdouts in some of the channel ports and along the Atlantic coast. A lot of them, they were just bypassed because why bother? Why bother attacking? Attack versus defense is like you have to have 3 attackers for 1 defender. And anyway, that's just the way it is. You've got 2-to-1 here in Italy. Here's your 3-to-1 for the most part. Soviets. And by the way, the Soviets, I just to come full circle on that one, the Soviets wouldn't have held off, according to who was it? Khrushchev had said this later on. I think it was Khrushchev had said that they would not have been able to hold on and then push the Germans back had it not been for the American. It's one of those things that sort of comes out afterwards, but yeah, the whole class of like 1923, I think, was wiped out. It's crazy.
In open battle.
But look at how many Germans are holding on the Western Front. They're 500 and almost 600,000 Germans, 300,000 in Italy. You're talking 2.1 million still under arms. That's a lot. It's a lot for Germany, not to mention 250,000 or close to 300,000. I think it's 250 or 200, maybe even in Norway. It's just that they can't keep the production up. The end of 1944, that's when production numbers really start to go down, but they're still producing quite well. The bombing campaign hasn't done what we had hoped it would do. There's Yugoslavia. The Tito's partisans are helping to narrate, and the British from Greece had helped. Tito and Stalin had a very interesting relationship together. There's your Battle of the Bulge, right? And the pushback. Something I had struggled with when I was younger. I had not realized that. I think at the end of World War II, they talked about like something like 7 million men were under arms in the Soviet Union. And there was like 5 million in the Allies on the Western Front. And I never could understand. I'm like, geez, I really thought there were more. And of course there were. They were in the Pacific. The United States was fighting 2 wars. That should give you an idea when you talk about logistics and creating vehicles, ammunition, supplies, the whole 9 yards, everything it takes to fight a 2-front war. The Soviets have 1 front, and they're supplying it right in here. They're supplying it from their home base The United States is supplying it from across 2 different oceans. That should tell you a lot.
At 2:41 a.m. at General Eisenhower's headquarters, General Jodl, the representative of the German
crossing the
High
Rhine,
and of
Rhine
Grand
Pocket.
Admiral Dönitz, the designated head of the German state, signed the act.
Interesting. There's the Berlin holdout right there, and right in here, I think it's the 9th Army. I think it's the 9th Army. They tried to push to get to the Allied side, but you're still talking almost 2 million men under arms. It's just that they're lacking, you know, any kind of cohesion. I mean, they do have some, to be honest. They do have some, but yeah.
Of unconditional surrender of all German land, sea, and air forces in Europe.
That's that. And it wasn't until like May that I think the last one was an island near the island of Jersey, just south of it. And it was like in June. They had like completely forgotten about it. And there was like, they were manning it up until June. And yeah, so the channel ports pretty much got the message by the end of May, or by the middle of May. Dönitz takes over the government, surrenders. The German soldiers in Norway surrender. Mussolini's killed in 1945. Hitler takes his own life. And then comes what becomes the Cold War. All right, everybody, if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And maybe comment, subscribe would be great. Ring the bell if you want to hear the next one. All right, thanks. Cheers.